Good morning, honorable members. The speaker will join us shortly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Morning, Mr. Tasso. Thank you.
Morning, honorable members.
Morning, Speaker.
Morning.
Morning, Ms. Speaker.
Recording in progress.
Morning,
Morning.
honorable
Morning.
members. Thank you very much. Honorable members, we have copies of the agenda before us. May I start with apologies? I have an apology of the Deputy Speaker and the apology of the Chief Whip of the Majority Party. Are there any other apologies? Oh, it seems there are none. If there are none, can we now look at the agenda before us? Honorable members, are we happy with the agenda?
Yes,
Are there
Madam
any
Speaker.
other
Yes.
matters you would like to add to the
Honorable
agenda?
Speaker, I move for the adoption of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Speaker, it's Natasha. I second the adoption of the agenda.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mamoroto.
No, I was going to second my hand. The hands are up, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Adopt the agenda having been adopted, honorable members. Shall we then proceed to look at the minutes of the meeting of the 26th of May? Okay. Honorable members, those are the minutes of the meeting of the 26th. At the speed at which the person who's manipulating this thing, it's clear that honorable members would have had copies of these minutes. So the assumption is that people have read the minutes. Now, are there any matters from the minutes which you would like to amend, honorable members?
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Singh, yes.
Yeah, can I first move for the adoption of the minutes?
Before
Please.
we move for the adoption of the minutes, I just wanted to check if there are any areas which are not a true reflection of the discussions. None. We then allow.
Sorry, Madam Speaker. There is one area that I read about.
Okay.
And I just like to bring it to the attention of the meeting, where
Yes.
the part refers to where we were talking about the appointment of the Secretary to Parliament.
Yes.
I think if they can go there. Unfortunately, I'm using my phone, so I can't read very well. Where it says Mr. Singh says that I think, if I can remember, the interview committee appointed the secretary. I think that's incorrect. The interview committee recommended the appointment of.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we could
Honorable Singh.
not have appointed. Thank you. I think they'll find that somewhere.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Singh. May you then move for the adoption of the minutes with the amendments, Honorable Singh?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, any seconders?
Lesoma seconds, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lesoma. We then proceed to look at matters arising. Honorable members, under matters arising, I do have, I hope that the committee section is ready to provide us with an update on the Electoral Act matter, because that is the matter right now, which is out in the public domain, which I believe we need to have a brief discussion on. I see your hand, Honorable Mazoni.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you will note from the minutes and matters arising that the Honourable Gwarube asked for the urgent debate of national importance submitted by KJ Milam to be looked at and to be programmed. We did discuss this as you requested, that we try and find each other in the Chief Whip's forum.
Honorable Mazoni,
Yes.
please, can you leave that for the discussion on the programming committee, which will be presented by Honorable Lisuma?
No problem.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mazoni. Now, I'm saying the matter arising here is the Electoral Act, and of course, the Commonwealth, which was reported about, Parliamentary Association, which will be held in August in Canada. This is just to remind parties that those of you who are delegates to this conference will have to arrange for your visas 12 weeks prior to your trip. So I don't want at the last minute people to say, well, they did not know. You need to know about. Now, of course, maybe as another matter arising, which is just for noting, and for me to thank all of you, honorable members who supported, sorry, the appointment of the Secretary of Parliament. Thank you very much for your support. We then proceed, honorable members, with
Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Mazoni.
Honourable Speaker, I wanted to just take this opportunity under the matters arising to thank you for having 2 meetings with our party leaders. I think that it was a massive assistance to us, and I think that going forward it sets a very good precedent that you are willing to meet with the leaders of the party to discuss matters of this level of importance. And I would like to thank you for arranging those 2 particular meetings.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mazoni. Thank you. But I also want on that note to just indicate to members that the meeting with leaders of political parties is not is a consultative forum. You know, it is not one of those which are guided by the rules of Parliament. So I do want to assure members, because I don't want people to think that, well, either we are undermining the Chief Whip's forum or we are undermining even the programming committee. I just need people to understand that that was a very important meeting for purposes of bringing honorable members, leaders of political parties on board to many, many other issues which we needed to discuss. But also to emphasize to honorable members that it is important for honorable members who are part of the other fora, such as your speakers, your Chief Whip's forum, and the programming committees, to constantly keep the leaders of political parties briefed about discussions and decisions of the programming committee and the Chief Whips Forum. That is very, very important, honorable members, so that when I interact with honorable members, we interact on the specific matters which they have requested us to address. We're not diverted into discussing issues which otherwise should have been raised with them by their whips and by those who participate in this forum. So it's just a plea, honorable members. This is not a matter for discussion, but I'm just making a plea that it is important that those of us who are in this forum and in the Chief Whips Forum are here because the parties have put us here, and therefore it's important to go back to your caucuses and to go back to your leaders and give reports on a regular basis. Honorable members, on that note of us having adopted the motion which was presented yesterday, that of the appointment of the Secretary of Parliament, once more, honorable members, I want to thank you for the manner in which you conducted yourself, the spirit of the debate, and finally, the endorsement of the candidate. I now proceed, honorable members, to invite Advocate Tau to present a report from the committee section.
Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Singh.
Sorry, I think before you were taken off track on the issue of compliments, yeah, you wanted a report on the Electoral Amendment Bill and others as matters arising. I think I heard you say that.
No, on the Electoral Act, I just informed you that this is a matter arising. However, we will discuss, we will receive a report under the committee section. That's one. The second one was the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, which will be held in Canada in August. And all I said there is that honorable members need to prepare and apply for visas 12 weeks prior to the trip. Okay.
Thank you, Speaker.
Members, would like to comment on that? I see the hand of Honorable Shivambo. Honorable Shivambo.
No, thank you very much, Speaker. I joined the meeting 7 minutes later than it had started. I wanted to check if the minutes had been presented, but also to check if the issue that were raised in relation to Parliament's legislative capacity has been dealt with as a matter arising, because there was no absolute clarity in terms of what would be the way forward in terms of what we made as observations, because we've already developed the perspective and we've shared with the Secretary of the National Assembly in terms of what are our observations in terms of Parliament's legislative capacity, but also to provide the concrete recommendations of what is to be done moving forward. So I wanted to get a clarity in relation to that particular aspect, if it has been dealt with, but if it has not been dealt with, we'll talk to it when.
Honorable Shivambo, you are correct to say you have joined the meeting late. That is unfortunate, because we have dealt with the minutes. We've dealt with matters arising. And if there's any other matter now which requires, which you believe arises from the minutes, you can raise it later under the Bills Committee, or even as any other matter, but we can't go back to the minutes. We've adopted the minutes and we've looked at matters arising. However, I see hands here. I will allow for members not to discuss minutes, because we have now adopted the minutes and made some amendments to the minutes, and we have proceeded, honorable members, to look at matters arising, and we are now at the point where Advocate Tau is about to present a committee section report. Honorable Papa.
Speaker, my understanding, the minute says we will deal with the matter member Shivambo is raising in a fortnight. I'm not sure, because I have not seen any document or anything. I thought the documents will be presented, they'll be circulated, and it's aimed at a workshop. The minutes also says that issue must be canvassed in the Chief Whips Forum. There will also be a workshop type of a situation to process that issue. So I'm not sure if as a matter arising what we're going to discuss have we amended that it's no longer fortnight, it's now today? Because I understand the issues on the agenda. I thought we were going to deal with it next week in a fortnight, as the minute says. Because I haven't seen any documentation on it, and when the workshop will be, all those things.
Thank you very much, Honorable Papo, for the clarity. I saw the hand of Lisuma. It keeps on coming and then disappears. Honorable Lisuma, would you like to comment on the matter?
No, thank you. Good morning, colleagues. I didn't greet you, Honorable Speaker. My apology. No, I was thinking twice because I thought with what Honorable Papo have said and yourself that we follow the agenda, then it can be accommodated when we are dealing with the bills as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Honorable Shivambo, will you please lower that hand now because I'm going to get confused. You've raised your matter? Yes, thank you very much. Honorable members, we then proceed to allow Advocate Papo to make his presentation.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, honorable members and colleagues. Our presentation starts at slide number 4. On this slide, we want to report that the PC on Justice and Correctional Services is planning to finalize the Transitional Code Bill on the 8th of June, and the National Health Insurance Bill before PC on Health. The committee has revised its deliberations clause by clause to the dates that are indicated on the slide. The next slide is on slide number 5. So on this slide, the Children's Amendment Bill before Social Development, the committee has revised the finalization from the 25th of May to the 8th of June. The next update is on slide number 6. On this slide, the PC on Environment, Forestry and Fisheries will continue with the public hearings on National Field and Forest Fires Amendment Bill in Northern Cape during the 10th up to the 12th of June. The next update is on slide number 9. On this slide, let me first reflect on the Electoral Laws Amendment Bill. The committee did the motion of desirability on the 31st of May. The committee has now applied to revise its program. The revised program is currently with the House Chair, and the dates, as soon as the program is approved, will be communicated. But I have been informed that the committee is planning even to meet during recess to finalize the bill by the 28th of June. But this is a provisional, Madam Speaker, as the proposed program is subject to approval by the House Chair and the Chief Whip of the majority. And again, on this slide, we show that the climate change bill before PC on environment has not been started with because the committee is focusing on the National Fields and Forest Fires Amendment Bill. The next update is on slide number 11. On this slide, the Standing Committee on Finance has finalized the 2 bills that are mentioned on the slide, and the report has been sent for ATC. The next slide is slide number 12. On this slide, the PC on agriculture and PC on employment and labor, we are planning to continue with the oversight visit to Limpopo and Free State. The days are still to be confirmed with regard to the living conditions of the farm workers and farmers. The next update is on slide number 17. On this slide, the PC on women, youth, and persons with disability, it's planning to meet during recess. The submission will be done with regard to the filling of vacancy on Commission for Gender Equality. The next update is on slide number 20. The PC on mineral resources and energy has finalized an international agreement, which is revised African Regional Cooperative Agreement for research, development, and training related to nuclear science and technology. This concludes our report, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Advocate Tau. Honorable members, are there any comments, observations on the report presented by Advocate Tau? Honorable Swart.
Good morning, Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. I appreciate the update on the electoral bill. My understanding is that Parliament has requested an extension. Is there any update in that regard, given that the cut-off date, I think, is in the next 2 weeks? So I'm not sure if the TAL or the legal section will give us an update in that regard, when it is expected for the matter to be heard, or have we heard directions from the court? Because we've heard in the media that some people want to hold Parliament liable for contempt of court, which is for them to approach the court, but obviously one does want to hear what progress has been made on this matter. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swart. Honorable Swart, at some point, I would like you to check your microphone. I think there is something wrong. There's a very funny sound which comes out. Even yesterday, when you were addressing Parliament, when we were dealing with the declarations on the appointment of the Secretary of Parliament, I noted that. I noted that even this morning. It is not so much the network. I think the network is okay. It is just the gadget you are using. If you could just fix it.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Honorable Mr. Kaso.
Madam Speaker, we would request legal services to respond to the matter. Advocate Finalized is on the platform in terms of the progress in the Constitutional Court.
Thank you very much. Legal.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, members. I was actually waiting for my colleague, Mr. Njikela, to speak to this, but I can also explain to the committee what is happening. The court has issued directions for parties to file written submissions. Already, the New Nation movement is opposing the application. They served their opposition on the 23rd of May. But the Minister of Home Affairs, IEC, have also filed written submissions in response to Parliament's written submission, and they have indicated that they are supportive of the application. The IEC has indicated that they can only support the extension if the bill in its current draft form proceeds. The bone of contention is the possibility of constituencies. IEC has indicated to the court if constituencies are included, they will need more time to prepare for elections. But the bill at the moment does not provide for that, and therefore they can, in fact, support that extension application. So at this point in time now, based on these submissions, we are awaiting directions from the court on a date for this to be argued, or whether the court will consider the documents and give us a decision. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable member, are the honorable members, I'm sorry, on my screen I don't see hands. Are there any further comments on the matter, honorable members? I can only make a comment, honorable members, that it is unfortunate that an impression is being created out there by both the media and some of us who have commented on the matter. An impression is being created that the fact that we are not ready with this bill is threatening the national elections in 2024. And I don't see in what way it is threatening the elections. According to the reports which I have received from the legal team, I know that we are really gunning for the 6th of November to finalize this whole thing. And therefore, if we finish and the president signs, then we will not have a problem if we are able to do it in the next 6 months. All that has been requested is that the Constitutional Court should give us an extension of 6 months, because we believe that by that time, the entire process shall have been completed and every step shall have been taken to make sure that the bill is ascended to by the president. So it's just unfortunate that there's a narrative out there which is that this is likely to delay, to threaten the elections in South Africa. It doesn't threaten the elections in any way. Everything is being done to make sure that the process is finalized before the end of the year, which is in 6 months' time. I see hands, Honorable Papo.
Speaker, I fully agree with you. The Constitutional Court will decide on the extension and some of the arguments which are made, whether in fact the bill goes beyond its own ruling. I am convinced that the bill doesn't go beyond the ruling of the Constitutional Court. So we'll have to await for that decision. Sometimes in politics, we just make statements, so I'm interested to know the position of the Constitutional Court on the request for just a 6 months extension, because public hearings were held, but it's a very, very important matter. And we don't want a situation where after the adoption, there are problems. But some of the comments were beyond even the time frame. It was on the content of the bill, which in my view, the bill is not against what the ruling is. People want us to make decisions beyond the Constitutional Court decision, which it's incorrect.
Thank you very much, Honorable Papo. Honorable Swart.
Thank you, Speaker. I just also wanted to comment on the aspersions that have been cast on Parliament. Let us just be reminded that the bill was tabled in January of this year, and Parliament has done everything in its power to process the bill. There can be questions asked, as we've often done in the past, about the executive not filing tabling a bill when we have a Constitutional Court deadline. That's a separate issue. But I do think that Parliament is doing everything it can. And that is the reason why there is a postponement application, which is probably fully justified given the interest and the complexity of this matter. Thank you so much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swart, and thank you for your comments. And I honestly want to make a plea once more to all members. I know that we are different political parties. We have a political program, and we are supposed to talk to our constituencies. And in the course of talking to our constituencies, we should not mislead constituencies into believing that the elections of 2024 are threatened. We are not in any way threatened, but what has happened is that we have asked for an extension of 6 months. A lot of work has been done. It's just small things, minor issues which need to be sorted out in order for us to finalize this bill. And my appeal is that, and I also know that this is a public platform, so it is very easy, for people to come out sometimes and say things which we have not necessarily agreed on. I'm happy that Honorable Swart, you are agreeing and confirming what we are saying in relation to this matter. Let us not, honorable members, let us not mislead our constituencies. It's important that South Africans understand and appreciate that an election will be held in 2024. There is no threat to the elections. However, Parliament has requested for an extension of 6 months. And it is good that we have requested for an extension of 6 months, because it would have been very bad if Parliament had if Constitutional Court were to come out and say, you are in contempt of court because you have not finalized your work. At least we have applied for an extension. Thank you very much. Honorable members, may we now proceed to receive a report from Dr. Mbata from the Bill's Office.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker and honorable members. On our report, we have updates on slide 2 and slide 5. On slide 2, the Standing Committee on Finance reported on the Financial Sector and Deposit Insurance Levy Bill, B3B of 2022, and the Financial Sector and Deposit Insurance Levies Admin Bill, B4B of 2022. Both bills were amended by the committee and they are now on the order paper for consideration. On slide number 4, we're reporting that the National Youth Development Agency Amendment Bill was certified on the 31st of May. The bill's office is processing the bill for introduction. With your permission, Honorable Speaker, may I please hand over to my colleague, Advocate van der Merwe, to report on Constitutional Court deadlines. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mbata. On I'm sorry, I hand over to you to colleague to Dr. Mbata.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, good morning, members again. Good morning, Speaker again. First off, I would like to report to the committee, and I think members would really be appreciative of this. We received feedback from the Departments of Justice and Constitutional Development on the 31st of May, and they confirmed that all the matters that are before them, and I think it's about all but 3, are before justice. All of these matters, there are bills that have been placed on the draft legislative program for the department for 2022. So there's definitely action from them. They have also taken a decision, an internal decision to the department, of course, but that henceforth they will ensure that all bills with Constitutional Court deadlines that are administered by justice, of course, are submitted to Parliament either within 12 months, where the court gave 24 months to correct the defect, or 6 months, where the court is 12 months. In other words, giving Parliament the same amount of time as the department uses to develop the legislation, so that these bills aren't coming to Parliament late. And I think that is a very positive development. Chair, then there was a number of matters that I want to report on. There are more, and those are all in the report that was circulated. But I want to specifically point out in respect of the Regulation of Interception of Communications and Provision of Communication-Related Information Act. It's a very long name. But here the department has indicated that there is a draft bill that is being developed and it will be consulted on with key stakeholders. There's still a lot of time on this bill. The suspension is only lapsing in February of 2024. So there is enough time on this, but it is good to know that there is in fact a bill being developed and consulted on. On the next slide are matters where the suspensive order lapses this year in 2022. So these are quite important matters to note. On the first one, the Drugs and Drug Trafficking Act, as well as schedules to the Act. This is a bill that is before Justice and Constitutional Development as well. So the same principles apply that they are on the list, the legislative list. And the department has in fact developed 2 bills that will address the court judgment. These are currently being processed through the established structures in order to obtain cabinet approval, and then it will be introduced. Now, the suspensive order is 17 December, but it seems that the department is trying their best to get it to Parliament as soon as possible. The next matter is Correctional Services. And here the department is briefing the Portfolio Committee. I understood that it was tomorrow, but I've just heard that it might be today. They are briefing the committee on the progress on this matter. As I understand it, the bill is still to go to Cabinet and they are planning to submit it in June. The deadline is 3 December 2022. So this is something where I think when this is being presented, something that must be very clarified with the department when this bill is planned to come to Parliament, because we only have 7 months left before or in fact even a little bit less, because it's very early in December, 3 December. So we only have about 6 months left then to process this bill. The next and last matter is that of the Electoral Act, but already we've discussed that matter, so I won't repeat. Thank you very much, Speaker and members.
Thank you very much, Advocate van der Merwe. Honorable members, are there any comments on the presentation made by Honorable and by Ms. van der Merwe? Honorable Steve Swart, I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. I think the Correctional Services issue, the SOC agenda, bill highlights the problem we faced with, and I appreciate the fact that going forward, there'll be an attempt from the executive to present bills to us, whether there's 24 months within 12 months, or if it's a 12-month period within 6 months. There, the judgment was given on the 4th of December 2020. That is almost 18 months ago, and it still hasn't gone. The bill has not gone through cabinet yet. So this is a problem, Speaker, because the order is against Parliament. Yes, we have to wait for the executive to present the bill, but unfortunately in the public domain, it seems that Parliament's not doing its job, and here we're going to be faced with a bill that we might have less than 6 months to deal with, given the fact that it hasn't gone through cabinet yet. And I think this just highlights what has been raised previously by the Deputy Speaker himself, that we need to be closely monitoring where Constitutional Court give deadlines. We appreciate progress in this matter, but this highlights the problem we face. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swart. Is there any other comment, honorable members, from the report? Honorable Mkalipi, followed by Honorable Shivambo.
Oh, okay, no, thanks, Speaker. I didn't see that the Deputy President is having his hand up because I want to speak on the matter that he raised before. Allow him.
Yes, thank you.
No, thanks, Speaker. The first issue that I wanted to raise specifically is in relation to the South African Reserve Bank Amendment Bill. It's actually encountering the difficulties that we have identified in the perspective document that we have circulated in relation to Parliament's capacity to process and expedite the completion of bills, because we introduced the South African Reserve Bank Amendment Bill last year, like literally more than 12 months ago. There were public hearings that were conducted, and what is outstanding now is the socio-economic study which has to be conducted so that it can be tabled for voting in the National Assembly. And it's part of the frustrations that we face when we deal with private members' bills in the manner that it is. And then of course, the issue that we raised, that we have circulated the perspective, so would want to come with concrete proposals and way forward in terms of the role of Parliament in processing legislation, because we have in the pipeline literally more than 20 different legislations which we think are due for consideration by Parliament, and in majority of times those were not adequately dealt with because we were pointed to the incapacity of the Bills Office to deal with all of those legislations. But the perspective will give a clearer framework and propose the forward of how we handle all these legislation, so that we our role, constitutional role as Parliament in passing legislation, because thus far 86% from 2009 of the bills that have been passed by Parliament are generated from the executive, and very few are coming from Parliament, and that cannot continue to be like that, because we should play our role as lawmakers and within our constitutional right. So that is basically the issues that we wanted to deal with, Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shivambo. We have noted that, and I hope that honorable members on this platform have also noted the issue raised by Honorable Shivambo, which he raised last week as well. And it would seem, and I think most of, in the main, Honorable Shivambo is expressing unhappiness about the fact that 86% of the bills are the bills which are generated by the executive, and that none of the bills passed really have been generated by committees or even by members' private bills. This is a matter which requires discussion. I think that's what we agreed last week. And in fact, Honorable Papo then went on to say he was expecting that there would be a document here at this meeting. I want to send it back to you, to the Chief Whips Forum, honorable members, to discuss the matter, and if agreed, go to a workshop, and just for us to clarify one another on these issues and find a way of taking the issues raised by Honorable Shivambo forward. I see the hand of Mr. Kaso, and I hope you will help us.
Yes, ma'am. Now, just to indicate that I just got the document from the EFF at 8:43, and I will indeed make it available to the members. And as the last meeting had decided, there would be a workshop at some point, and ma'am has now just said that the Chief Whips Forum must process that matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso, and thank you, Honorable Shivambo, for the document, and the document will definitely be circulated to honorable members. Honorable Mkalipi.
Just a quick one, Speaker. Please forgive me, my network is very bad wherever I am. There is a bill that Commander-in-Chief of EFF has introduced to move Parliament. In terms of the parliamentary processes, where is that a process with that bill that we seek to introduce in Parliament? Thank you, Speaker.
Okay, Honorable Mr. Kaso, would you have any idea where that bill is?
Ma'am, the information I had was that the bill had been published, but Legal Services is willing to speak to that, so I'll recognize Charmaine now to speak to it, with your permission, ma'am.
Okay. Advocate Van der Merwe, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, Speaker, I can give some feedback. So the process is before introduction of a bill that there must be a publication of intention to introduce. So at this point in time, that has been done. It was published in the Government Gazette last week, Friday, and we are now awaiting some comments from the public. And then we are busy, the Legal Services Office, the Legislative Drafting Unit, is considering the information received from the member, and we will assist the member to develop a draft bill that can then be introduced. So the process is ongoing. We are aware of it, and we are providing the assistance, and we are in contact with the member via the appointed staff member that he has indicated we must speak to. And we are in touch, and we'll keep them up to date with the process of the development of that legislation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Advocate Van der Merwe. Honorable members, that is the point of information which we have just received from Advocate Van der Merwe on where that bill is. We then now proceed to receive a report from Honorable Lisuma from the Programming Committee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and honorable members and colleagues. While the draft program is being beamed, may I quickly say, Chair, so that I don't cause confusion, I'll go through the program, draft program, and then I will deal with the footnote, silence footnote later at the end. Honorable Chair, Speaker, we are in week 17. I will start with today, which is this morning is the National Assembly Programming Committee that we're in now, chaired by your good self, Honorable Speaker. And then any political parties that they deem necessary to have their caucuses is scheduled for 10 o'clock. And the afternoon, Honorable Speaker and members, is that at 14 hour till plus minus 17, 15 hour, it's going to be a hybrid sitting of Parliament. The first order paper will be consideration of the Portfolio Committee on Health, on National Health Amendment Bill and its second reading thereof, followed by the PC of Corporate Governance and Traditional Affairs report on Disaster Management Bill and its second reading. The fifth one will be the consideration of the approval of amendment to the Convention of Physical Protection of Nuclear Material from PC of Mineral Resources, followed by the sixth one, Chair, it's a Justice and Correctional Services PC report, which is Portfolio Committee report on amendment to regulations for approval in terms of Section 97 of 2 of the Child Justice Act of 2008. The second last item will be the request for approval for the African Charter on Statistics, followed by the last item is consideration of the annual report of the JSC on intelligence for financial year ending 31st of March 2020, including the period up to December 2020, Chair. Then we shall proceed indicating that Friday is the normal committee day, and those committees that has been ATC to sit, it's reflect on the ATC paper. Then we move, Chair, to week 18. Week 18, I would not necessarily talk to Monday because that's a standard activity of various political parties on Constituents Day. Then we'll move to Tuesday, Chair. Allow me to talk to the 14-hour hybrid sitting and leave the rest. Is going to be the debate on the on vote 2 of Parliament, which will run about 135 minutes, and then consideration of reports of budget votes, which this one hasn't changed, is what was indicated in even the last week, Chair. I will request that we move to Wednesday. On Wednesday also, I'll move to the hybrid plenary sittings, which will be the questions to the Honorable Deputy President. And we have populated the other items there in terms of the consideration of the report on financial sector and deposit insurance levies bill, and followed by the Standing Committee on Finance, Financial Sector and Insurance levies bill amendment bill, I mean to say, followed by the first reading thereof, and also item number 5 also is the second reading of 2, Chair. So I would not repeat it. I will go to Thursday, Honorable Chair, that will be the Programming Committee meeting, and then applies on 10 o'clock, and the hybrid sitting at 14 hours, which will be the debate on the presidency vote, which will be the debate as indicated there in terms of that will start at 14 hours until minus 19:30 hours, Chair. Let's move to Friday. Friday, it will be followed by the hybrid sitting from 10 o'clock in the morning, which will be a resumption of the vote 1 presidency reply on that. And then it will follow that way, Chair, which is Friday. And then we are going to week 19, Chair. If you may, probably let me just deal with that. I'll go quickly, Chair, to Tuesday, which will be starting from which there's hybrid sitting, plenary sitting, which will start in the morning. The first item there, Chair, will be consideration of a report on Standing Committee on Appropriation and Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill, its first reading and second reading thereof. The fourth item will be the consideration of the Standing Committee on Appropriation Bill. Let's move a little bit up. The first reading thereof and the second reading thereof, Chairperson. But probably just for completeness, let me deal with item number 6, which is consideration of the votes and scheduled appropriation bill in its totality. Thank you very much. We'll move to Wednesday, which is the 15th of June, which I will go quickly to this hybrid sitting, which will sit on 15 hours to plus minus 16:30 hours, which will be debate on Youth Day. And then that will be the constituency period. And allow me, Honorable Speaker, then I will add some silence footnote as I requested earlier on, that to be followed on the 20th to the 15th of August will be 2022 will be constituent period, and is indicated previously, Chair, that There will be on the 20th to the 27th of June, it will be Youth Parliamentary Proposal Week. Then the third silence items, Chair, that I would not have necessarily dealt with the matter of the third quarter, but I just need for noting this meeting that we are in consultation, engagement with Honorable Cooperative in terms of the next quarter, as agreed last week, that the president in the third quarter must appear twice, and then we're soliciting the dates in due course. It will reflect when, hopefully, when we present the third quarter program. The third point, Chair, is the issue that I think it would be appropriate for us to bring it before this committee, which was raised as a question in the Chief Whip Forum, noting that the Chief Whip Forum doesn't make decisions. However, in terms of the rules applies, is the issue of a question that was asked by Dr. Mudla in terms of the bills that are appearing before the House today, whether there will be any debates on those bills. Safe to say, Chair, in terms of the rules, it applies. However, the difference here on these matters is that we'll be receiving the report from the committee, and then because of its nature in terms of the reports, the undesirability of the bills, then it will be tabled, but there will be no debate on the bill because there's no bill, there's a report from committees. There will be declaration for various political parties to do that. Fourthly, Chair, as you would have noticed that when I'm dealing now with a request that was done again by Honorable Kwahube in the Chief Whip Forum, which he made it very clear that it's a request around the matter of national importance on the motion that was presented by one of their members. And of course, you did indicate that you agree that it be scheduled, but as correctly so, you requested us to look at that at the technical committee and look at the days. Last week, I must register that when we're dealing with the minutes of the 26th of May, there was nothing that was raised, because when you look at when we're dealing with the program, item number 8, fourth paragraph, it does indicate that it was reported and requested that let the matter, we respectfully agree with the speaker in line with the rules. However, because of the congestion of our program, let it be scheduled for the third quarter. Hence, hence that's it, and the minutes have been adopted. But why I'm raising it, I'll seek a clarity so that we don't seem like the technical programming committee don't listen to Parliament decision body, that the minutes have been adopted and there was a clear rationale and understanding, hence there was no adjustment on that. And now the matter is being raised again. So what I'm seeking on this point, Chair, a clarity of process of decision making, that we take decisions at this forum and we adopt the minutes of the previous forum discussions, and then the matter gets raised again. However, I must say that in the Chief Whip Forum, we did indicate that we will meet as a technical committee and see the possibility thereof, then which means that matter is still pending in that way, which is the matter of the Chief Whip Forum, not for this meeting, but I thought I must raise it, Chair. Other than that, Chair, here we are presenting the draft program of the National Assembly before this meeting for its consideration. If there are any gray areas technically that I might have presented, I'll request Mr. Kaso to come in, but also even yesterday's meeting, if there are any other gray areas, the Honorable Dlagude, who was chairing the meeting, will also assist me, but that's the spirit on those matters, Chair. I've covered the gray areas that are not there. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Lisuma. Honorable members, that is the report from the programming committee. I see the hand of Honorable Kwahube, followed by Honorable Kaso, Mr. Kaso. Maybe I should start with you, Mr. Kaso, so that you can add on to whatever Honorable Lisuma has presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Madam Speaker, just two things. Today, this afternoon, the House will also consider the establishment of the Steering Committee on Climate Change, as was agreed by the Chief Whips Forum, I think, last week. The second one is that on the bills that are coming before the House, both the committee report and the bill will serve before the House. But what we do have is that we will have declarations of vote, no debate as such, but declarations of vote. So, but at the end of the day, the bills will also be put to the House for decision in terms of the rules. There was a question raised whether private members' bills are treated differently. No, they aren't. They are not treated differently at all. So they will be serving before the House today, but there will be declarations of all items. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. I now have a list of hands here. Honorable Kwahube, followed by Honorable Jakude.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, just on the issue of the SNAP debate, I just do want to raise this. I mean, you had written to the member that had requested the urgent debate on fuel price and fuel increases, and granted the debate. Of course, now the matter sits with the NAPC, which is the correct forum to decide when it should be considered. I do want to draw the attention of the meeting to Rule 130 of the NA rules, which talks about essentially that if the Speaker grants the request, that the discussion or the debate must be scheduled at the House's earliest convenience or earliest opening. And I would like to argue to the committee, Speaker, that if you look at the last week of the second term, even if you look at the Thursday, the 15th of June, we have one item on the agenda, which is a Youth Day debate, where this matter could be scheduled for discussion then. And the reason why, Speaker, I'm arguing for the urgency is because, one, the constituency period we're entering into is long. And it would mean that the third quarter will start sometime in later on in the year, and we'll probably be looking at sometime later in July or August. Number two, the issue of fuel increases, Speaker, is something that is quite topical. And as the national legislature, it's my view that we should be discussing this matter as a matter of urgency. It is affecting many South Africans, and in fact, as the Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy indicated, the temporary relief will only be extended to July. So if we schedule this matter only later in July or in August, then the discussion becomes moot. So I would like to make the point that in order for the NA to be responsive to the issues facing South Africans, we should try and schedule this as soon as possible. And I can, without doing the work of the technical committee, can identify a gap in the program even in the last week. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwahube, Honorable Jakude, followed by Honorable Papo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Good morning to you and my colleagues. Honorable Speaker, while we fully agree with the proposal made by the Honorable Kwahube, there is a technical committee, programming technical committee, that has a responsibility to look into what is to be programmed and the space as to where to program it. We agreed in our consultative meeting yesterday in the Chief Whips Forum that let's allow the technical committee to sit. No one is opposed of this matter to be scheduled, like it was agreed last week in this programming committee, and no one opposed when that matter was agreed to be scheduled in the next quarter. But what we are saying, let's allow the technical committee to do its work. We cannot have a committee, then we micromanage it ourselves. That is our agreement yesterday. And also what I want to advance in this meeting, Honorable Speaker, while we allow the technical committee to sit and come up with a response to both the Chief Whips Forum and the NAPC. There are interventions made by the minister as well, which are 80 seat. So let's also allow that to be implemented. While the technical committee is looking at that, next week we'll come back and deal with the matter. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Zakude, Honorable Papo, followed by Honorable Mazzoni, and then the last hand on this matter will be Honorable Singh.
I think, Speaker, while the issue is very important, the increases happen regularly. We have also debated the issue this year. It's not like it has never been debated. If you remember the first subsidy when it was given, there was a debate in the House on the matter. So my view is that we should actually allow the technical committee to look at all options which are there. And but for now, I mean, it's not scheduled, and maybe they can give us a feedback on even suggestions which were made by members Siviwe, and then give a report next week whether it can be scheduled before we rise. So that will be my view, and it's not that the issue is not important. The fact that it was debated this year shows that it is an important matter. So that will be my proposal, but for now it's not scheduled, but we can get a sense because she made a proposal on a date and we can't debate that here. It must be looked at and we get a feedback.
Thank you very much. Honorable Natasha Mazzoni.
Thank you so much, Speaker. Speaker, I like the way Honorable Papo thinks because he thinks in a technical format, which I like, and I like structure and I like rules. And I do agree that the technical committee does look at these things and look at them with importance. But at the end of the day, we are the politicians that the South African Republic look to and ask questions to, not the technical committee. So I do think that we have an opportunity to advise the technical committee on what is of extreme national importance. Now, yes, it's undeniable that the ministers have come out and spoken on this issue. And initially, the subsidy was to be extended until the 31st of May, but we've heard nothing since. And if you have a look at any of the TV stations or any of the newspapers today, it remains the number one topic that's being discussed, not only by South Africans, but by all unions and by very, very party groups. Now, Honorable Gwarube has given a lot of thought to this, as our caucus has too, and Honorable Gwarube is in charge of programming in our caucus, so it's her job to really investigate and interrogate the programming report so that we never come to you and waste your time offering a solution that we don't think is viable. But given the fact that we now sit in a situation where South Africans are unsure of what will happen on a day-to-day basis, and given the fact that there might be some malicious intent, be it just by accident, by some analysts giving their opinion, South Africans are incredibly confused and, quite frankly, very worried about what could happen in the next couple of weeks regarding the fuel price increase. I'm very, very grateful that this committee takes these debates of national importance so seriously. And Madam Speaker, I appreciate the urgency in which you yourself took this matter up as quickly as you did and replied as quickly as you did. But I do think that this is something where we as Parliament, we always say that we lead by example. And I think this is something where we really must lead by example to make sure that we can give the South African public some kind of guidance, and while we entrust the technical committee to do everything in their power, I do think that this particular forum, which is the programming forum, does have the right to indicate to the technical team that things are becoming of such a nature that we cannot wait until the 15th, or actually, let's be honest, it will be the middle of August, for the South African public to know exactly what Parliament is thinking and what decisions are going to be made. So I strongly agree with Mr. Papo that the technical committee look at this very seriously, and that we seriously consider programming this debate to happen before we rise. I do agree with Honourable Kwarube that on the day of the youth debate, we would have time to have a debate thereafter. It's well known that the last sitting of the term is normally quite a long sitting, because that's the time that we use to finalize things that are of the utmost importance to the Republic before we go on the recess period. So it's my plea that we do this not for us, not for Parliament, that we do it for the members of the South African public who at the moment are in limbo and quite frankly are really very worried. And I think we are all very worried about what could happen and what could arise from this fuel price increase. And also there's fake media, Madam Speaker, which we must remember that goes around. I've seen so many fake videos that have claimed that this committee has said this and this committee has said that. And I wonder where they get this information from, and then I realize it's just fake news. So let's beat it from the start. And please, I'm appealing to the technical committee to really give Honourable Garube's suggestion and Honourable Hope Papo's suggestion real thought and guidance. And Honourable Lisoma is a very reasonable and rational programming whip, and we've always appreciated her attempts to accommodate us in our requests, and this would be one of the requests where we would really appreciate an accommodation, given the importance that it has to South Africa as a whole, because it's not just those of us driving cars, it's everyone that uses any type of fuel that it affects. So it's my plea that we really look at this in the interest of the country as a whole. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mazzoni. Honorable Singh, followed by Honorable Buruto.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I don't think this matter requires the kind of long debates that we are entering into. The fact of the matter is that what we are saying in this programming committee, that the technical committee must give serious consideration to this matter being discussed before we rise, because as honorable members would know, the IFP brought a matter for urgent debate on the very matter a few months ago. It was debated, you agreed to it, we debated it. But I can understand, given the ad hoc nature of the concessions on the fuel levies, we need to know more definitively exactly what the intention of government is on the question of fuel levies, and perhaps scheduling it before we rise will also give the respective ministers an opportunity to tell us what government's thinking is on this matter. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, just to say that all political parties are concerned about this matter, including the executive. So it's not just one or two of us, but all of us are concerned because it has an impact on the economy and future growth of our economy. So my earnest appeal as well is that the technical team seriously consider this matter to be discussed before we rise. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Honorable Buruto, will you please, those who have spoken, will you please lower your hands so that I don't get confused? Thank you. Honorable Buruto.
No, good morning and thank you, Speaker. No, I just wanted to come in on the issue of us debating this matter, because I think a suggestion and recommendations were given by the programming whip herself to say that we are looking into it as the technical committee. And so it was also seconded by this, what was said by the Honorable Deputy Chief Whip. So I just wanted us to say, let's not keep on bringing the, the ins and outs of the matter itself. We understand the importance of this matter rather than to bring it to this as if we are in a debate. Thank you, Chief Speaker. Let us allow the technical committee to come back to us as promised next week. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Boroto. Honorable members, as proposed by the Honorable Lisumi, who is responsible for the programming committee, I want to make an appeal to through Honorable Lisumi to the technical programming committee to sit and bring us something concrete next week at this meeting about scheduling this important SNAP debate, which has been requested by the honorable member. Indeed, it is true that when I receive requests for SNAP debates, I never hesitate. I look at the issue, the substance. I look at the issue and then take a decision. Even in this instance, honorable members, I applied my mind and looked into the matter and agreed that the SNAP debate should be granted. So the programming committee must find space for the matter to be discussed. Equally, honorable members may have picked up 2 days ago that when I was having an interview in the evening with Newsroom, they had invited me for something else. But at the tail end of that discussion, the journalist threw a question on the very same matter of the fuel prices. And my response to that was, there has been a request in Parliament for a SNAP debate to be held. That's number one. Number two, the minister himself, Minister of Finance, 2 days ago requested that he be allowed to address Parliament on this very matter. I did consult with the Chief Whip of the Majority Party. I did grant the minister permission to make a statement to the House. But later on, I saw that the minister had then made a submission and not the statement he had requested. So, honorable members, I am making a request to you that when a matter has been dealt with, when a matter has been handled in the manner in which I have handled it, I should not be embarrassed by honorable members not now ensuring that the directive that has been given, the agreement which has been reached, is actually implemented. I'm now appealing to the Technical Programming Committee to go back and provide us with a report next week, Thursday, on exactly when the SNAP debate is going to be held. Because what is being proposed here is that a SNAP debate will be held sometime next quarter and so on, and there isn't even a definite date for the SNAP debate. And I am requesting the honorable members, I respect you, and I'm making a plea that we please, technical committee, go back, deal with the matter. On Thursday, let us get a definite date for the SNAP debate. I don't know why this matter is an issue, because actually it is an issue out there that the fuel has gone up, South Africans are talking, and we want to be the last ones to talk on the matter. I make a plea to all of you that fact that a matter is raised by one person when it may be our view is it should have been raised by somebody else, should not prevent us from scheduling this motion. Motion is on the table. Motion is on the table. The speaker has granted. I'm requesting that you apply your minds as quickly as possible as the Technical Programming Committee, Honorable Lisuma, and make sure that we deal with the matter and put it behind us. Thank you, Honorable Lisuma. Honorable Lisuma.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. You are on point. Hence, I raised it yesterday to say that it's only yesterday and today. So we are still committed to that because we understand the rules of Parliament. And at no way that we're suggesting that we're not going to schedule it. It's just a matter of date. So today and yesterday is less than 24 hours. We shall rise to the occasion expected by your summary, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lisuma. Honorable members, the matter has been dealt with now. We will receive a report on Thursday and from Honorable Lisuma on when the SNAP debate on the matter will be held. What is the last matter? We have considered the parliamentary program. Are there any announcements from you, Honorable Mr. Carson?
Madam Speaker, no announcement from our side. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. There are no announcements, honorable members, and that being the case, then we adjourn this until next week. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Recording stopped.
Hello, good morning. What are you waiting for me for, stars? I don't understand. I know I'm waiting for you.
Fego. Fego.